Hi everybody, this is a video to help you complete your standards-based lesson plan, which is worth 200 points or 20% of your grade. Now that you've examined your school's learning community more in depth and you now have a better context in which you're going to try to teach your students, knowing your learning community allows you to develop and understand the curriculum and lesson plans that are specifically geared to address the challenges of the students in your learning community. So this assignment is going to have you create a semester map for the school at which you want to work at someday, and then you will choose a particular benchmark out of that map in which to create and develop a standards-based lesson plan. Keep in mind that the standards-based lesson plan, or lesson planning in general, is the bread and butter of all teachers, and it basically serves as a guide to make sure that we know and plan of what we're going to do that day, whether it works out or not. So you're going to be able to use this assignment as a wonderful example of your ability to lesson plan in your teaching portfolio someday in Ed 295 Service Learning. So to learn how to do this assignment, you can read the instructions, you can look at the embedded instructions and curriculum map and standards-based lesson here, or you can listen to these instructions. You have about 5 weeks to complete the assignment, and please make sure to check your course calendar and modules for specific due dates. But basically the standard-based lesson is broken up into two parts. First is the curriculum and being able to describe and create a semester map, which is worth 100 points. And then the other 100 points is the actual standards-based lesson plan itself, and by completing the 4 parts of the lesson plan. So let's go ahead and look at what you need to do for curriculum. Curriculum is anything that is basically what the kids learn at school, and it can represent all kinds of things. But I want to focus on 3 of these: the formal curriculum, the informal curriculum, and the hidden curriculum at your school. So to complete this, go ahead and describe each of those at your school using the resources here. Write it out to about 8 sentences for the in-depth according to the rubric. And then this will give you a better idea of what are the things that your school wants to teach for a grade, what are the things that your school wants to teach for not a grade, and what are the hidden meanings behind each of those. Once you do that, then it's time to create a curriculum map or a semester map for the first semester. So you get to choose a grade level and 1 subject that you would like to teach at your school for your students. You do not want to have to choose all the subjects if you're an elementary school teacher, because you would go crazy. Then you're going to decide the benchmarks for that subject for that grade level by going to the DOE Standards website and looking up the Common Core Standards or the Hiccups 3 standards and choosing those. So you're going to apply the 40-40-40 rule and decide what is important for your kids to learn for that subject. And if you're going to use a private school, I would suggest, if they don't have any benchmarks laid out, then use the Common Cores. I would recommend copying and paste directly from the standards website so you don't have to rewrite anything, and that's okay. And then you need to figure out how long you're going to teach each of those benchmarks. So you need to go to the DOE calendar, and then for each, so for example, you may want to teach a benchmark for 5 days, so from August 8th to August 13th. Once you've completed that, then you're going to move on and choose 1 benchmark out of your semester map in which to develop a lesson plan. And to do that, you need to first choose the standard or benchmark, and here's where you do that. And I would pick one that you think is really, really important, and only choose one that you think is really important to teach, and then you're going to write a rationale and defend it by writing why you think it is worth a 40-year idea. Then the next part, you're going to choose an assessment to measure that benchmark. And remember, the most important thing here is to identify the action verb in your benchmark and then match the action verb with the assessment using the matching rule that we did for focusing activity backwards design. Then provide a sample of each assessment chosen. You don't need to create the whole assessment, but if it's like a quiz, provide a couple of questions. If it's an essay, provide a couple of the questions, and so on. And then the scoring tool and scoring criteria for each assessment chosen. So if it's a closed response, you need to provide the answer key, and if it's an open response, you need to provide the rubric. Then You will choose instruction for the lesson to give your students opportunities to reach the learning objective. So you want to review the resources of what kind of lessons are out there, and then develop the actual steps for the instruction. And again, I would keep CREED in mind. Those are the 7 elements that always force us to develop student-centered activities, which students like much better than teacher-centered. And then after you develop the instruction, you're going to write out 5 instructional strategies in your lesson instruction, which represents those learning strategies. So, for example, teacher lecturing for 15 minutes about global warming is called a direct instruction, and etc. So you're going to look for 5 of those. Then finally, you're going to accommodate your lesson for these 4 different types. Different learning styles, different cultures, special needs, and English language learners. And so you'll be pulling out parts of your lesson in which you'll say, ooh, I have addressed learning styles by blank, 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 and then you'll add it into your format. So to see what this thing will look like, here's an example assignment representation of your curriculum map. So there are the 3 discussions of the types of curriculum at your school, and then there's the curriculum map. Then, Then if you look at the standards-based lesson plan, you will see the parts of the standards-based lesson plan. There's standard part A, then the assessment, then the instruction itself, and then the accommodations. So that's it. It seems like it's a lot, but it's really not. It's something that we'll do many, many times in your lifetime, and so it's going to be great to get started on the first one.